Hello and welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another comparison. Today we have two of my favorite SUVs. We're talking about standard SUVs. On my left side we have the BMW X5. This is the new redesigned model. It is similar to the 2019, but it is a 2020 model. And on my right side we have the 2020 Volvo XC90. Both these two vehicles offer great features, great technology, great ride quality, and quite a lot of space. They are, of course, three-row seaters. They offer from 5 seatings to 7 seatings if you want it. You can fold the third row seat and make it more spacious in the cargo area. So what's the goal for today? I want to find out what they offer. These are both the top trim that you can purchase today. On my right side is the inscription, and on my left side we have the X5 40i with the M package fully loaded. Special thanks for today's video goes to Performance BMW, a BMW dealership located in St. Catharines, Ontario. They have provided us generously with this 2020 BMW X5. Meanwhile, Volvo over here is offered to us thanks to our great partner, Volvo Canada. I have this for a full week as my second day with this, but I have driven the previous model, which again shares a lot. It's almost the same as this with a few differences, which I will mention them in the video. If you want to know more about Performance BMW, if you live in Ontario, Canada, and you want to take this for a test drive, the link for their website and of course their Instagram account will be in the description box if you want to reach out to them. Now, let's start and compare these two. One important thing to mention about the Volvo, the XC90, it is a hybrid model. As you can see from the plate, it is a green plate, which gives you a lot of perks. Like, for example, you can take on a highway, this vehicle, use the HOV lanes in some highways in Ontario. Meanwhile, this one is a standard vehicle. You can also pick a hybrid version for the BMW, and of course it comes with different horsepower and different engine. Unfortunately, Performance BMW didn't have one for me today. They only had this, or the 50i, of course, produces a lot more horsepower and it is faster than the XC90 T8. Now let's talk about prices. What do they cost? Well, the starting price for this in Canada, the XC90, starts at $75,000. The BMW on the other side can go up to $77,000. Now with the packages, of course, it goes over $100,000 for both vehicles. The more features you add, the more technology and different packages, of course, the cost is going to be higher for both vehicles. Now, just because these two are family SUVs, that doesn't mean that you can't have fun, and it doesn't mean that these two don't have enough horsepower. In fact, they're actually quite powerful. I mean, compared to SUVs back in 2000s, these things are amazingly powerful for what they are. First of all, on my right side in here, this is a very interesting engine. It is a 4-cylinder twin-charged engine with an electric motor, of course, that makes about 400 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. It will do 0 to 60 under 5.2 seconds. It is equipped, of course, with an automatic transmission, and it is an all-wheel drive system. Meanwhile, the BMW X5 40i produces about 335 horsepower out of the 6-cylinder twin-power turbo engine. It is equipped with an automatic transmission and, of course, an all-wheel drive system. And it will do 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds, close to the Volvo, even though it doesn't make as much horsepower as that. But if you wanted to have a little bit more fun and make it a bit more interesting, you could upgrade to the X550i, which makes a lot more horsepower. Or if you wanted, and of course you got the money, you can go further to the BMW X5M. Now let's move on into convenience on the exterior side. First of all, what do they offer into the key fobs? Well, first, they both have a standard key fob. If you want it for the BMW X5, you can go further than that if you have the money, of course, and purchase the display key, which you can see pretty much everything about the vehicle. And of course, it is a touchscreen key fob. It can also help you park the vehicle through the key fob. A very smart technology, which was initially used in the BMW 7 Series. Now it is almost offered in all vehicles. Meanwhile, the Volvo has a standard square style key fob. The Volvo on the front uses LED headlights, as you can see, and you have LED daylight running lights. They kind of split in half in here, which is used, of course, for the turning signal. Meanwhile, the BMW X5, it goes a bit further than that. It uses a system called laser light for the actual headlights, which are better than regular LED lights. This system improves the high beam output by 2, which means you can see twice as far down the road. And the technology, it also creates a light that's 10 times brighter and more intense than traditional xenon or LED headlamps. Now, in terms of design, when you look at them from the outside, first of all, the BMW comes out as an actual performance vehicle, yet with some family touch designs, like the actual exterior length, for example. It gives you an idea that this vehicle is for family use. But at the same time, the front area, it's very aggressive. And of course, this has the M package, as you can see, the signature design at the bottom onto the front bumper. Meanwhile, the Volvo seems very standard. It's more so designed for family. It doesn't have extreme features that makes it look very aggressive or even sporty. It's pretty standard with a very refined design on the exterior. Now, if you're worried about keyless entry and all the extra features that you get in standard vehicles, well, don't worry, because they're both equipped with it. You have keyless entry to the front and, of course, the second door as well. It also offers power mirrors, which, of course, fold once you lock the vehicle. At the same time, the camera is located onto each area. Very standard for luxury SUV for today. Now, let me lock them up for you and let me show you exactly. Now, the next question that you might have is, which one is the biggest out of the two? Well, surprisingly, they're actually almost the same. Let's talk about the length. This, it's 194.9 inches long. This is 194.0 inches long. Even the actual wheelbase is almost the same on both vehicles. Even the height is actually the most same. BMW X5, it's 69 inches. Meanwhile, the XC90, it is 69.4. So they're actually not too far from each other. So if you're concerned about how you're going to park them, well, the choice is very simple. They're both the same. Now let's move on to the rear end for both vehicles, and let's talk about what do they have in common. Well, first of all, don't worry, because you're covered on each side. The XC90 offers you LED taillights. Same thing on the BMW, have LED taillights. Even the exhaust tips are almost the same. They have the chrome finish around it, and they both have a backup camera, which is part of the 360 mode, which we'll go into detail. Now, in terms of the technology for the rear end, the XC90 offers that kick option underneath, where you basically slide your foot under with your key fob in the pocket and it should open up. Now, the BMW doesn't seem like it has that option. It's probably not available, because I tried a few times and even in the list it doesn't show that it has, but you can of course open it through the key fob. Now, let's get us inside and let's talk about what do they offer in terms of space and maybe extra features as well. First of all, the BMW tailgate splits in half. So you have the upper side and you have the lower side, which are both powered. Press a button and it opens up, and even to close it, you can do the same thing. Something that the XC90 doesn't. Now, if I press that, it will do the same thing now, and then close it. You can do the same thing with the upper side. Now, what they do have in common, because they're both equipped with their suspension system, if you start up the car, you have a button onto this area where you can lower the vehicle for easy access to any objects or anything that you have in here. They both have the same option. In terms of the space, well, unfortunately, this one doesn't have the third row seats. It does offer, though, a third row seat, of course, with a total of 7 seats, but this model that we have for today's video doesn't have. Behind the third row seat, this one has about 33 cubic feet of space, which is slightly less than what the XC90 offers. But what it does offer, if we open the other part of the tailgate, underneath here, with the damper located onto that area, you have more space underneath to use. The XC90, on the other hand, for the model we have for today's video, it does have a third row seat, and of course you can fold it with this lever located at the top, pull it, and you're able to actually fold the seat. That way you get more space. Now, if we step into the second row seat, I'm going to show you around what they have in common. First of all, they both have a panoramic roof. They both have a climate unit located right there with heated seats on both sides, so they're very similar. They both offer beautiful leather interior. They also both offer sunshades as well, which you can pull from this side, and of course an interior ambient light. Now the BMW goes a bit further than that. Unfortunately, we don't have them today, but these are equipped with a big massive screen located onto this area, which it is not attached at the moment because it is for the client when they purchase it, but it is attached in this area, and you can display some of the settings that are used onto the infotainment system. Also, the BMW offers what is called the Sky Lounge panoramic glass at the top, which was taken from the BMW 7 Series. So basically what it does is that it offers the bright light onto this area for nighttime, and of course you can change the light based on the color that it offers. So this is basically what it's called, the Sky Lounge. It's used on Rolls-Royce as well, very similar style to this. Now let's move on to the front area and let's talk about what do they have in common. Well, first of all, they both offer an infotainment system touchscreen. Onto the center in here, they have another thing in common is the actual gear knob. They both use similar crystal shape and design, is just the way this one is shaved onto this area, looking like more like square. Meanwhile, the one in the XC90, it's more refined and more round. The BMW has a power steering wheel, something that the XC90 doesn't offer. They both have a digital cluster and they both offer a heads-up display, very standard on both vehicles. The BMW goes a little bit further than that. If you don't like the smell coming inside the vehicle from the air outside, if you're passing through certain areas where there is a very bad smell, strong smell, the BMW is equipped with a feature where it sprays inside the vehicle. You can pick different smells, of course, different colognes, aromas. You will spray onto the interior of the vehicle to make sure that you don't smell the outside bad smell that is coming from. Now, that is of course an extra options that you have to pay for. It's something that the XC90 doesn't offer. When it comes to the steering wheel, the BMW offers pedal shifters onto the steering wheel. Now, when it comes to the seats, they both have ventilated seats and heated seats. They both have, of course, power seats and different modes and different ways to adjust them. And of course, they both offer massage seats as well, a very common feature on both vehicles. Now, when it comes to the area onto the center, the BMW X5 offers quite a lot of buttons. On the other hand, the Volvo XC90 is minimalistic. Most features that the Volvo offers are actually into the infotainment system. The BMW, you have buttons all over to use. So for example, you have for the heated seats and for the climate control. The Volvo has taken all those buttons and put them into the infotainment system, so you can use everything from there. Now, when it comes to the infotainment system, the Volvo has it in a different position, the actual display. Meanwhile, the BMW actually has it in a different position as well, horizontal and vertical. The Volvo XC90 has its own unique features and of course design as well. Now let's start first with the start button. Of course, it is a power start button. So if you wanted to start it up, you have this scroll button into this area and then you just press it and now it's on. Now you can't hear the engine because this is of course a hybrid model. It also offers for the glove box a power option. So you press this button here and it opens the glove box, so you don't actually have to open it manually. At the same time, it offers the windshield in the front, heated, and the rear side as well. Another feature that the XC90 is missing, well, the wireless charging pad. It doesn't have anything in here or into this area. I don't see any wireless charging pads option, but you do have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You can connect your phone to the vehicle and display some of the settings in, and of course display some of the apps from the phone. Since we are in an area where we have enough space to test them out, we'll actually test the feature that they both have, the park in and park out. Okay, it found another one, so put into reverse. And let's see, so reverse slowly. Now we're going to put it forward. Now we're going to put it in reverse. So I'm actually not even touching the car at all. And it is complete. Now let's try the park out. Now when I try to park out, what it does is that it will do the job itself. When I wanted to park it out, if I want to actually park out of the spot, you have to do it manually because it says it is a cleared area. Take off steering wheel and release brake. Okay, so this is technically doing itself. I'm not even pressing the brakes. I'm not even pressing the gas. It's parking completely itself. It's being very careful with the objects in the front. I'm not touching anything. Like, this is insane. Literally hands off, nothing. It's reversing. And it is parked. And it turned off as well. Now, if we want it to park out, here we go. So to park out, you have to do it yourself. We have covered pretty much everything you need to know for both this vehicle. It's time to take them for a test drive and see how they do on the road in terms of comfort level, power delivery, and of course, we'll test the semi-autonomous driving assist that both vehicles offer. This one is called the ProPilot Assist, and we have the same thing onto the BMW, the driver assistant package. And of course, we're going to do our cabin noise test with our dB meter. Let's go for a drive. Another thing that I forgot to mention about the BMW is that the two cup holders in the front actually use a heating system and a cooling system. So if you want to keep your coffee nice and warm, just leave it in there and it will basically keep it warm. So it's a very handy feature to have, especially in cold weather. Right now I'm going to lower the vehicle, which I can do from inside, and I can do it while I'm driving as well. So that is very interesting. Okay, here we go. Oh my God, the belt. Okay, now, so this has an automatic seat belt. Basically what it does is that it puts you nicely and comfortably in the position, and that way you're nice and tight. Now I'm gonna put this in to comfort mode and see how it does. I have turned off the fan and of course anything else in here to make sure that we can actually do the proper test with this little machine that I have in here. Now let's go right and we'll go into the highway and actually do the whole test from there. It does feel a bit quieter in here. I wouldn't say it's better than the Volvo XC90. I'll do the test and we'll find out. Both these two vehicles do a great job to deliver to a specific market. So for example, people that want an XC90 don't expect a lot of performance driven vehicle. They want a standard vehicle that they can enjoy, and of course functional. It has 3-row seats, same as this. It does a great job with the engine. It is powerful enough for you to have some fun. So we got 62.9, 62.9. So it's 62.9. Now we're doing 100 kilometers an hour highway. It's not as busy out there. There's just maybe 2-3 cars behind me, about 10 to 15 meters. So it's not a busy time for you know, to do this test. It's perfect. 100 kilometers an hour, 62.9. Now, keep in mind, usually on a highway, of course, at the higher speed, it is louder in most cars. Okay, now let's put the driver assistant. Okay. Okay, so it's keeping me within the lanes. And full driving mode. It has gap assist as well. It has lane assist, collision warning as well, and so right now I have it in full control. The steering wheel is actively monitoring the roads and making sure you stay within the lane, but it's not as precise as, or accurate as the Volvo. The Volvo does a far better job. We'll test it out once we take that on a test drive, and I'll show you exactly how accurate the Volvo is. This is okay. It will still keep you within the lanes, make sure you're not bouncing left and right, and of course it basically vibrates the steering wheel. And you have gap assist as well with this vehicle, and lane assist, forward collision warning. Okay, let's put it into sport mode. Okay, drive, let's put it in sport mode. It's really amazing. Especially because the BMW offers big brake hit in the front compared to the Volvo. It's fantastic in braking as well. Very responsive. The steering wheel is responsive. It changes when you put it into sport mode completely. It becomes a bit stiffer. It's just amazing, this car. And I can't even imagine what the V8 engine would be in this thing, because right now we're only in a 6-cylinder. So it's just very responsive even for a 6-cylinder. BMW is the best at making 6-cylinder engines. They can put enough power to make you smile and slow down. It's really, really great. Like, the whole responsiveness of this vehicle is where you need it. The throttle reaction is perfect in sport modes. The suspension system stiffens up a bit, but not much, to give you that sporty style driving, that performance driven experience. Okay, so we're going to do the test now for the Volvo, the XC90, and find out how quiet or loud it is inside. So the Volvo, it's at 64.4, so maybe a couple of the Volvo, it's at 64.4. The Volvo, it's at 64.4. Sorry, it's not focusing right now. It is, and it's actually not that far from the BMW. They're both within the same level. Now let's do the pilot assist for the Volvo. I'm going to show you how precise the Volvo is, and right now we're in a bit of a traffic as well. We just went through a quiet area, and we're hitting traffic, but we're still doing around the speed limit as well. And I'm not even touching the steering wheel. Now, I will keep my hands on the steering wheel because it is a safety feature, and you're supposed to legally, but just it does the steering itself, and it keeps a really good distance with the car in front of you. It is extremely precise. It's probably one of the best systems out there I've tested. Now, this is, of course, a semi-autonomous. It's not necessarily fully autonomous vehicle, because otherwise you'd just put the address in, it will do all the work for you. But this basically is to make sure that you're always within the lane, so you're not shifting, and it doesn't bounce left and right. It stays precisely into the center of the lane, which I absolutely love. Just look at this. it just asks me to apply steering. So what you do basically, just move the actual steering a little bit, because the sensor picks up that there is no pressure onto the steering. Therefore, it thinks that you're actually not driving the vehicle, and which you are supposed to. But just amazing at what it does. And I've noticed, even with no lanes, this will still stay in the center and be as precise. I think it calculates the actual road itself, how wide it is, and there it determines if it's a 3-lane or a 2-lane, because usually cars use the usually systems use the lanes to actually direct the vehicle to make sure it stays within those lanes. But this seems like it uses a different, more intelligent system. It uses a system called IntelliSafe, which is basically developed in Sweden, I believe, as well, but is extremely precise. And of course, you can increase the distance for the gap assist option if you want it. But most of the time, you're actually not driving the vehicle. Even though you have your hands on the steering wheel, the vehicle is literally driving itself. And it does a very good job to actually make sure that if a vehicle is cutting you off, you'll slow down. Also, when you're switching lanes, of course, you have to turn. Of course, you have to use the turning signal. It usually doesn't slow down right away. It will move slowly onto the lane that you want to move, but without slowing down. Because some cars, what they do, I've noticed, I've done testings on other vehicles, they just slow down before they go into the other lane. So this is extremely precise. Now, a few things about the Volvo that I've noticed as the more I drive this vehicle compared to the X5. In the X5, I'm always eager to drive fast and faster and faster and faster and so on. In here, I want to drive slowly and enjoy the ride. Now, if you want to have fun, the Volvo will provide you with the horsepower that you need. I mean, 400 horsepower, of course, dual motor, which is electric and petrol or gasoline. You can still have some fun. It will push when you want it to. So if I want it, I can put it into Polestar engineered, which is technically and now it's lowering the vehicle, and it's technically the sport mode in other vehicles like on the BMW. And the gas, let me just cancel this because I had it in pilot assist. The throttle is, you can hear the engine, you can feel the torque in the vehicle when you push it. It's quite impressive for having a dual motor, and that's the reason why this thing produces more horsepower than the BMW. With that in mind, thanks for watching. As always, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check out Performance BMW. If you want to take that BMW for a test drive, the X5 or other vehicles, the link for their website and Instagram will be in the description box. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe and check out my other videos. And let me know if you want me to do another comparison, anything that you have in mind. Maybe we can make it happen. Cheers.